Alright, game fans, I'm gonna dive into something that I have a little bit of experience with, but I'm out of practice right now. So, my brother and some of his friends, they get to play D&D like all the time. The struggle is that nobody ever wants to be the DM. So they all do 3.5, Pathfinder 3.0, and all kinds of hodgepodge mixes of those. And they just get super number crunchy and super fiddly, and I feel like you can't do certain things if you don't skill things out the right way, and you have to be thinking 1,000 steps ahead. Well, the only way I'm going to get my brother to play 5th edition, which is the last edition that I played, is I have to be the DM. And I found 5th edition to be incredibly freeing and super easy to use. It takes like 5 minutes to make a character instead of 3 hours. If you do it in 3 hours, you're probably overthinking it. Misreading something, because one, there's literally something you can get online and go and make a character with. It's D&D Beyond. It's kind of awesome that way. But if you're doing it just old school with the player's handbook, mine's digital, so I can't show you, and my Dungeon Master's Guide is somewhere in my house. But anyway, this leads me all to if we're going to play 5th edition, I have to be the DM. So I get the monster manual, I get a Dungeon Master screen, which looks really, really cool. It's got a big old red dragon on the front of it. It's pretty awesome. And it's got all this stuff on the inside. So I'm looking through this going, oh, this is amazing. They're quick reference charts. What am I missing? One thing I would really like to have on here is, I don't know, the arms and weapons on here. Excuse me, the armor and arms and armor. There we go. And yeah, that would be like a great addition, but it takes up an entire page, as you can see. Because, well, my PHP is digital, so I can just snip it into little pieces and go, I need this page. And I mean, I do this with my character sheets too. But it's pretty awesome. And so I'm thinking, oh, I should buy the digital version of the monster manual. And then I would have to go through all of the fiddliness that is putting together each individual creature that I'm going to use, and then sorting them, and then basically making my own cards. So I've been watching this series to kind of help me learn more about being a dungeon master and playing 5th edition and just getting used to the nuances of 5th edition again. So I watched a video series called the Animated Spellbook, and it's amazing because I do terrible things with spells. Like, I'm the guy who buys the spell cards because it makes my life easier. And I did this, and I'm thinking, there's gotta be a way for the monster manual to be broken up into cards. And the Animated Spellbook, one of his sponsors is the Deck of Many. So I'm looking for all these things, and I went ahead and I bought the Uber pack that gets like 8 packs of things, all 4 decks of monsters, and like weapons and conditions and a couple other things. And I'm just gonna flip this thing over. It's got a couple things on here. Animated armor, a behind flare, which I think is somebody's custom thing because it's got a picture of a butt on it. But anyway, there's a bunch of monsters on here, but some of them have a 2 next to them, like the Dryad, and the Ghost, and the Lich, and the Tarrasque. And it's not the size of the creature, it's the amount of information on these things. And if you look on here, there's an owlbear and a mimic on the back, like as the examples. And it's just, this was like the thing that I was looking for. So I'm gonna try to open this up one-handed so I don't drop my camera. But one thing I like about this is it says 4 blank custom encounter cards. So that's something that like could really, really be helpful. Other than just, hey, here's the monster. So these, just kind of looking at these, they're a little more cartoony than I was hoping for. But I mean, I have a CR1 monster, and everything I need to know is on the back of it. So, like, it's not real complicated. It's a flashcard for a monster. I mean, and that's really what it is. But I've got a bunch of them. Got the behind flare. See what I mean by it? It looks like a butt. I don't even want to know what that thing is, but it's apparently like a CR7 creature of kicking your butt. And there's like Black Pudding and Bugbear and Gaston as a centaur and a dryad, and there's 2 of the dryad. So I'll show you what that's like for the moment. So there's 2 cards for the dryad. They look like this. That one gives you some information, and then this is the same picture, just closer, and it gives you a little bit more. So on here at the top, you've got the stat block. You've got what it is, how much experience, its senses, skills, languages, special traits, the spells that it can do, if it has any spells. Goes into explaining all of the things that it can do, like Tree Stride. It has magic resistance. It's got an armor class, and it says with bark skin. So if it does one of its things, you already know what its new armor class is going to be. It also tells you its hit points and how many hit dice it is and the speed. On the other one, it continues with the rest of it. So if there's a bunch of information, like the dryad, as compared to the bugbear is just, hey, look, there's your dude. Speaks common and goblin. Dark feet of 60 senses, 60 feet. Passive perception of 10. So, not a real complicated thing. More complicated. So it breaks it up like that really well. So yeah, that was what I was looking for. I bought a bunch of other things with it, so I got more things than I needed. So some of the things I'm going to keep and some of the things I'm not going to keep. But for me, this is a really good start to things. So just kind of wanted to share that with you guys, those of you who actually watch my videos and pay attention to more than one thing at a time. And, oh, I need to put the dryad back in there. I need to go to the back here, because this is where the custom encounter card is. You'll see this side, where you would have the name, the race, the alignment, the challenge rating. And then on the other side, it says this is the stat block, the name of the thing, the experience, the skills, the saving throws, the senses, languages, immunities, resistances, weaknesses, special traits, actions, and reactions. There's, I think, 4 of these cards. I think they were listed on the back as encounter cards, meaning that, well, each of these creatures is a potential encounter by itself, and I think that's what they're really meaning. But, like, you've got 4 of these to make whatever you want them to be. I created a critter of my own because, well, I played Fallout a bunch, and there were these ants. And I'm like, oh, ants are neat. So you guys go ahead and give me some feedback on this, because this is my own critter that I've made. It's a giant ant. It's a small beast. I figured that AC of 14 and 15 and 13 HP, which is 2d10 plus 2, speed of 40, passive perception of 9. I'm claiming this is a crit rating of 1/4, and its strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are as follows. Blind sight of 60 feet, because, it's got smellers and stuff. But it also has what I'm going to claim is a hive mind. has a telepathic communication within 60 feet. Now, I should add that this has to be other hive mind things, like other ants. And I'm also going to claim that it has pack tactics. So, ants work better in a group. So if the target is next to its buddy, then you get advantage on attack rolls when an ally is within 5 feet of the target. That makes sense in my brain. If it doesn't make sense for you, just go ahead and let me know. The other thing I've got on here is it has a piercing bite, and it's a +4 to hit. It's a d6 +2 based on its strength. That should actually be a d6 +3. Yeah. Yep, that should be d6 +3. Anyway. I'll change that here in a second. If I can find a pen. But it's piercing damage. If, on a successful bite, the target is grappled on a DC of 12. And, I mean, obviously that's countered with either a strength or a dex, depending on what the character would like to pick. But, because they can wiggle out of it or they can power out of it. It's their choice. But, yeah, I was poking around with these things going, I can either make my own monster cards for all of the critters I'm going to use, or I can just buy monster cards and save myself all the headache. So, what I don't like about the deck of many monsters, or the deck of many monster cards, is that they're kind of randomly assorted back here. I wish they were sorted by, like, environments or challenge rating or just something other than just, hey, here's a random box of things. I mean, this is the first one, so you've got some pretty generic ones in here. I mean, you've got kobolds and orcs and bugbears and giant spiders and gnolls and goblins and zombies and skeletons. So this has a lot of those things that, in a generic campaign, this is what you're going to run into. So I suppose that makes some sense. But I still wish it was more organized by the environments they live in. I would find that more helpful. Or if they were organized by challenge rating, I think that would also be really handy. Because, in all seriousness, who's going to fight that thing? I never get far enough in a campaign to get to that thing, but my friends can be cantankerous, and timing is always a struggle. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on the deck of many monsters. This is just the first one. I believe they have 4 decks, and there's a bunch of different tools out there. This is just one guy's opinion about one product, and if you've got an idea, yeah, go ahead and share it. I'm still building all my stuff. I'm going to end up taking a published adventure and tweaking it to what my players and I want it to be. So, part of that is just I haven't done this in so long. It's been at least 5 years since I've tried to run a game or played in a game. So, I'm a little rusty, and yeah, I'm done making excuses now. That was just, these are tools. Use the tools afforded to you, even if you gotta buy them. But those are my thoughts, folks. Game on, game fans.